12:31. We do have enough of quorum, so I'm calling the meeting to order. First item on the agenda is a review and adoption of the agenda. Does anybody have any questions? If not, can I have a motion to accept the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
And can I get a second?
I'll say it.
So passed. So agenda, and then we have the minutes from last meeting. Is Paul going to be here or should we wait for Paul?
No, he is not here. His wife got out of surgery today.
Oh, okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, any questions? No questions? Second? And motion carried. Minutes are approved. Public comment, introduction of visitors. I don't think of any new. Is anybody online that we know that we should be aware?
No.
Okay. Moving on. Any public inputs or questions that we received? Going on to action item number 5. Policies, establishment, expansion of library, branch libraries. Yeah, explain.
Yes, so we have one policy due up for review. As Charles said, the establishment and or expansion of branch libraries. It's included in your packet. Any suggested edits or revisions that came forward from our library management team can be seen in red. There's a fair amount of just some punctuation and consistency of capitalization, so I won't go through those pieces necessarily, but you'll be able to note those along the way. Just trying to keep all the language consistent throughout. We did note in the initial purpose section, which is at the very beginning, to indicate the potential of a new library, either indicating a new branch library or a new express library. So that is one recommendation we're bringing forward that we felt was important to include in this upcoming policy review. So that's one important piece I wanted to point out. And then as we move forward, again, just kind of adding some clarification under the implementation procedure of language changes, just to point out availability of parking as being an important piece, building maintenance. So just kind of adjusting some of the language to keep consistent throughout. The only other kind of larger recommended edits that I want to go over is in this section towards the end under facility requirements for cities, which begins on page 3 and then it goes to page 4. Just noting, we're recommending some changes in the language related to building capacity and parking capacity, just so it's broad enough, but important enough to have the cities make sure that they're looking at the state design standards and how those may change or adapt, and felt that the language that we've included allows for it to be a little bit more flexible. But again, stating enough that that's a very, very crucial, important piece for both building size and parking size that's related to that.
I think there's a question.
Sure.
On the first page, last point, the general rule, a library branch should not be within 5 miles of another. Then ask a silly question here. Is it as the crow flies or is it by road?
Heidi, can you answer that one?
You know, I've never thought of it that way. I always thought of it was driving distance.
Okay.
I mean, however you get there. Right?
Okay, I'm just asking, it's curious.
Yeah.
Other questions that we can try to answer?
There's a lot of words in that first paragraph. And it's sort of the standard that 16 words in a sentence is the max because the reader gets tired afterwards. So there's like 35 words in the first. And you want to eliminate anything that doesn't change. You want to eliminate anything which by eliminating wouldn't change the meaning of the sentence. So that's a tough paragraph. Anyway, the second sentence, changing and all the way to the end, is easy reading and to the point. And I don't have any real suggestions, except that somehow if you could take that first sentence, a 35-word sentence, and break it down into 2 sentences. That's my recommendation. I don't mean to be mean about it. I'm trying to be helpful.
I don't object. I like the parking thing.
How would you restructure it into a 2-statement sentence rather than a single sentence that it is right now? I'll let you take a look at it so we can but the spirit of the context is fine to me. I have no objection to what it is right now. So, but I'm just gonna ask if there is a motion to accept the way it is right now. Yeah, can we have a motion to accept?
Oh, I'll make a motion to accept. You just, if there's any
And do you have a second?
minor edits, I don't think that should hold it up.
Do you have a second? Yeah. Okay, Jan says she has a second, and so move. Everybody who agrees say aye. Aye.
Aye.
To ask for that. We'll move forward with this. Next item is unfinished and new business. Discussion topics is booking module. We have Bob. Yeah? You want to go through it with us? Bob?
Sounds great. Good afternoon. Bob Lincoln, I think I know everybody here, so I'll just want to say hi. Hi. So I want to give you a librarian's dilemma. A librarian's dilemma is when librarians plan out their, and associate librarians as well, and probably managers and probably a whole bunch of other people in the library business, when they plan out their story times and they plan out their activities that go with those story times, they need the materials. Now I face this dilemma at school, and in school, the books that I always wanted to read to my kids were always checked out, okay? And so it became a dilemma, and I solved it one way. I just ordered 2 of each of those books, and we kept one on my shelf, my kind of private stock, if you will, until at that point in the year, if I read that book, then it could go to the general circulation, and everybody could check it out. But that's not really fair to kids and fair to families and stuff, so the dilemma is to have the materials, whatever that may be, when you want them, when you need them. And many of our story times are planned out, and the topics of those story times are planned out well in advance. So we needed a system to organize when these materials would show up. And that system is called the materials booking module. It was one of the big selling points for the Circedonics system. And it is a part of our Symphony, our Circedonics Symphony software. And it's a module, it's a part of the Symphony. And so with this, we are able to create items. And so we started with the team back in January. And we worked on it weekly for all the way through about June, and now we're doing it like once a month or as needed. But what we did was we just started small with one library, Norwood Young America, and we started with just one item, story walks. And we set up the system and how we were going to order those items so that they would be in the library when the staff member needed them, okay? And so we started small with just Norwood Young America. As we move forward, there'll be more and more items in this. We've already added stem cell kits, not stem cell, stem STEM kits. We've got stem cell kits in the library. It's kind of like the seed library, right? It just keeps growing. But anyways, we have STEM kits, and then we also have discovery kits and other items from the Norwood Library, Norwood Young America. And then in the fall, and actually we're already starting this process, is Chanhassen will be brought on board with their lap sit story times. So I'm going to show you a portion of a video. It's like 12 minutes long, so I'm not going to show you the whole thing. But I want to show you kind of two parts of it. And hopefully this will help you. I'll get this started in just a second. I want to let you know that I put together kind of a frequently asked questions, and then kind of a notes with some big items or with some topics that might help you answer some of your questions. So I'm just going to start the video. And one of the things with the booking module was we needed a way to communicate this to staff because it's not just implemented at one library. We're starting at Norwood Young America and with the items from Norwood Young America, but every library has to be a part of that because if we have items that are shipping to Chanhassen or shipping to Chaska, they have to run a report in the morning and then they have to pull the items. So in this video, you're going to see just a very brief part about the reports. And I'm going to point out a couple of pictures first. And then you'll see kind of the Tricia introducing kind of the whole concept to staff. So this is one of our training materials for staff. And we have like 5 different training materials that we share with staff. So the first couple is just some pictures. This is Norwood Young America. And this is the media desk. This is where we have many of our kits. And most of them are in bins. In the second part of the video, you'll also see some bags. We have big, large canvas bags that also carry many items. Some of the bins are 2 bins for an item. They're all barcoded. They're all in the system. And when you check out an item...
This is the bookings module training video. This section is for the bookings pull list report. This is the list that will tell you everything at your location that needs to be shipped out for the day. So for today, I'm logged in as NYA Circ. Norwood is going to be our hub for shipping items out for the most part for the time being, so we're using them as an example today. So logged in as NYA Circ, first you would navigate to the Reports tab, and then come down to Finished Reports. You'll see a list of the reports that run daily. The report runs at 7:10 in the morning every single day, including Sundays, which is something we'll talk about later.
Just so you know, there's a report that generates everything that you pull at a library. And there's a different report for each library, and the system knows what to put on that list, on that report, right? And that's how they pull items and send it to the library that needs it. We have, so this is Symphony, and it's just one screen on Symphony. In the bookings module, you'll use the reports function like this, and then also the booking will be in the bookings module. So when you check something out, you would check it out in the bookings module, okay? Rather than checking it out in the checkout or circulation module. Do we get statistics on our bookings? Because I know somebody would ask that question. Yes, we do. I'm going to go further ahead. So this is kind of the function that we would do every morning in the software. We run the report, and then we check those items out, or pull them and then check them out. I'm going to move ahead a little bit to Tricia, because this video is a little bit longer than... Here we go. And Tricia has done an amazing job with this.
Thank you, Catherine. Now we're ready to start with what to do now that we have our pull list. We just learned how to find our pull list in the workflow system. So you have your pull list and you're looking for your item. And in this case, we're at the Norwood Young America Library and looking at their media disc. when we use the term media desk, it's referring to the place where all the items are stored. And as you can see here at Norwood, we have lots of tubs. We also have things like our story walks. And the library assistants will need to locate the various item that's listed on the pull list. And how will they do that? So with our items, the first thing you will notice is you will see a large, I'm going to hold this up so we can see, you will see a large orange tag. In addition to some labeling that indicates what's in the specific item, you'll see a large orange tag. This tag says, alerting you, always use the booking module. The most important thing when you're preparing items for shipping is to not forget that you need to be in the bookings module, again on the ribbon, across the top in your workflows to select bookings. It's critically important. It'll look like the same thing if you're looking at it in the circulation side, but the item will not be properly checked out or properly placed in transit for shipping and return. So you need to use the bookings module. I will repeat that maybe a few times because it's so critical that you're in that bookings tab on the top of your ribbon. So you've done that, you've found your pull list, you found that you needed pack that. Now this one happens to be bin 1 and 2, which means you're going to be finding 2 bins. But only one will have the barcode on. So within this kit, or if you were pulling a story walk, you'll find that orange tag with the barcode on. That's going to be important to make sure you got the right thing. In the kits, there'll also be a face sheet, and the face sheet will indicate what the kit is, and they'll have a barcode also that matches the one on the top. So those are the things you need to locate. So you'll bring that kit to your register, and again, you're in the bookings module, and you will check out the kit. Now you're going to actually check out the kit to the recipient.
I'm going to pause it there. She goes into some very finite detail about how the library needs to handle this and how the library assistants will be working on one part of it and how the librarians are involved. I just want to say that this team has been really amazing because it started really small with just one little group, but it quickly included a whole bunch of other groups in the libraries, like library assistants. They're pretty much trained in every branch, not fully, but trained on certain parts of it. And the youth services librarians, and then the team, which was Donna and Tricia and Catherine and Scott. And so it's been really kind of a neat work in progress because we've literally started very, very small, and then we've had to test things out. We've had to make quite a few changes as we go. They may not seem like big changes, but they're pretty big for this system. So a couple of those are noted on the back side about changing when the reports were run and changing. We added a buffer. They recommend a 1-day buffer, where you get the item a day before you need it. And we realized, because things are going back to Norwood Young America and then to the library, that we needed a 2-day buffer. So the goal of this is to manage all of those different types of kits and materials that staff use around the library and have an efficient way to ship things there from library to library. We just got the tent, right, that was used at the Chaska Library. It's a beautiful new tent with Carver County logos on it. I think it's 10 by 10. And we just asked Alliance, our courier service, if they'd be willing to move that for us. And I checked the contract, and they didn't have any requirements on weight limits or size limits. And so then Beth reached out to them, and they said that'd be no problem. So things even like tents, it's a foldable tent that collapses up, but large things like that. I don't know if you heard the final word on that. Is that way?
I'm glad, because it's heavy.
Well, yeah, it's moving around. And it's 40 pounds of sand, too.
Most of us don't have a vehicle large enough for that. So.
Right.
Yeah.
So the bookings module, any questions or comments?
So how long have you been using that?
Well, we started using it in May.
In May.
The team started in January, and we were testing
Right, okay.
February through about May. And really with just one item at first, and then expanded from there. Any other questions or comments?
Sounds awesome.
Thank you.
So when you check out something, let's say from the bin, then you will only see it on the system that it's checked out. You won't know whether it's in the bin or not unless the system indicates it's checked out. Is that right?
It does say checked out, yes.
On the system.
Yes.
And you don't reprint and say, okay, this is checked out, and then you put it in the bin. It doesn't. You don't need to do that, right?
No, you just keep the same sheet, and you just double check that everything's in there.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And I mean, there'll be times when we can't find the sheet that we'll have to, but yeah, so one of the reasons for the sheet, the face sheet, is so, like with some of the kits, like some of the STEM kits and some of the different discovery kits have so many different little parts in little packages and in little things that you want to be able to quickly assess if you need those. So restock or reorder. So. And I have to tell you, this is Paul's baby. Paul Erickson, when we were going through the migration process, he was so excited about this. He just couldn't stop talking about it. So
is this fully rolled out right now? Like
yes.
Everything? Okay.
Well, not everything. The materials that are at Norwood Young America,
right.
And then we're going to add different libraries as we go forward. So our next library will be Chanhassen because the next kind of group of kits is Lapsits in the fall. So it's kind of be dependent upon the demand. I mean, we're ahead of the demand, but just what's necessary or what's needed next.
Are there many libraries in Minnesota that use the bookings module?
There's a few, and they're not all in Melsa either. So there's a couple in Melsa, and I've connected with a couple of libraries around the country because just in questions and things that come up, you're in a common place or in the same size. The same size is really, really important. But there's some really huge libraries using this system also, and they've done it. I mean, on a larger scale, but they have like one item at a library, and another library is going to have a different item. And from managing the whole flow, it's kind of, I think it's a great way to do it. I'm really curious to see when we really hit kind of the highest level volume, if this is going to impact Alliance or if this is going to impact our book delivery system, right?
Is it in the Norwood Young America, there's a 2-day buffer right now?
Yeah.
When you rolled it to Chanhassen, will that stay the same? Or
It will stay the same. We planned that out. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We tried to look ahead and see. I will tell you this, that there will be some changes. I mean, there just tend to be when you're on a system like this. But I think we've proactively thought about a lot of those things that so they would be minimal. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is board attendance at MLA.
Minnesota Library Association Annual Conference will be held October 27th through the 28th at Duluth, which is a beautiful location for the conference. And the second day is normally the day that we call Trustees Day. A lot of sessions are held that are specifically geared to the trustees. And we had a number of people attend conferences this year. So we will, I did set aside money from the endowment so we could use that instead of, because our conference budget is used up right now. But I'm going to use some money from the endowment fund, so if you'd be interested in attending the conference, please let me know. Or contact Susan Blotz directly, our administrative assistant, and she will take care of you.
Would you give the date and location one more time, please?
October 27th through the 28th at Duluth, Minnesota. It's always a good conference.
Do we have do they have like an agenda on what we'll be covering?
I looked online and they don't have the topics outlined yet.
Okay. I'll check. maybe.
So what would be the timing to kind of let you know before, like with the September meeting, would we have more info?
The trustees actually do not have to register for early bird. It's like if a
Okay.
trustee goes no matter what time, even if it was the day of the conference date,
Okay.
you'd get the least amount of registration fees assessed to you. We have early bird registration fees that we always try to meet for our staff, but no,
Right.
you don't have to worry about that. So sometimes before the 27th of October.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is 6.3, future potential discussion topic, the LSTA funding. Do we have anything to update on that one?
And those are future discussion topics that we may or may not choose to use as we go on.
So we'll just table that. Going on to the administrative report. Team updates. Is that you?
That's me.
Go for it.
I think everyone had a copy of the report in the packet from Susan, but I'll just go through it here with you quickly. A few things to highlight from the communication standpoint for this past year. The first thing I wanted to talk a little bit about was the annual report. We had a fun new layout to attract and engage readers with our annual report this year, and I'm sure you all had a copy where it was kind of that accordion type document, the Z fold, and so you could pull it out long and there was the timeline in the middle of it. And what was really interesting to me about that, and really kind of confirmation, I guess, that we were sort of ahead of the game, was after we had started work on the preliminary outline for that document, I was attending a communications conference, and one of the sessions I attended was about annual reports and how to make them new and fun and engaging. And the University of Minnesota Library actually was one of the presenters, and that was the layout that they chose, was to do the accordion timeline in the middle. So I thought, we're already all over it, on top of it, ahead of the game. So I thought that was really cool. So I wanted to talk about that. We've done a really good job with partnerships, I think, both within the county and outside of it in our communities that we serve. Over the last year, we've had great partnerships with HHS and Career Force, having some presence in the library buildings themselves to help people connect with services and information where maybe they can't make it all the way to the government center. How can we overcome some of those barriers? And so placing social workers and Career Force staff in our libraries has really been one way that we can explore how that will work out for if it's beneficial to our patrons and citizens. Career Force is also interested in doing some classes in our libraries with their staff, so we're exploring some of that resume building and looking at the best groups that we can provide that service to, whether that's people that are switching careers or looking for a better job, high-paying job, things like that. And we are going to be offering some really great programs in partnership with our County Parks Department as we move into fall. I think we have 4 programs that we're going to be working with them to get all of that information and those experiences out to our patrons and citizens, so that's kind of cool. And then we have, a bunch of community organizations as well, Launch Ministry, Community Action Partners, school districts, and some publications that we work with on a monthly or weekly basis. Social media is always kind of a big topic. Over the past year, we have created and started to develop our Carver County Library YouTube channel. So what we're discovering is that online was really beneficial for us and engaging with patrons, but when it came to Facebook in particular, it was so difficult to navigate through all the content that was on there. And so we had to make a decision about what do we want to keep on that Facebook page, and what do we want to do with the content that we're going to take off. So essentially, we're using our YouTube channel as a place to house some of those videos and content that we're pulling off of Facebook, because we know that people want to go back and watch that stuff. And with the ability of YouTube, that means you don't have to have a Facebook account. You don't have to have an Instagram account. You can just log on to YouTube, search for the video or our channel, and you can see it there and broadcast it on your TV and stream it on your TV, which is really cool for some assisted living and group living situations that we have. So that's been nice. As far as the followers, the increase numbers is reflective of June 6th. We've had an increase in Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and then our YouTube channel. We only have a number for 2022 because we did not have a number in 2021. So 246 following that channel. And our e-newsletter subscriptions went up by almost 2,000, about 1,800. So that's pretty exciting because we put a lot of content in there. Susan does a nice job. One big change with our social media, sorry, did you have
I was just gonna, any idea why it went up that much? Do you think? Was there more promotion?
I think our staff have done a better job about, yes, exactly that, about offering that as a way for people to connect and get content.
Yeah, because that's pretty dramatic.
Yeah,
I
it
would have
is.
thought maybe 20 to 21
Yeah,
with the pandemic.
right.
But yeah.
Yeah, no, it's good to see that trend continue to grow because we really do put a lot of information in that. And so it's helpful to know that a lot of people are receiving that. One thing that we are excited to launch here pretty soon is the introduction of Hootsuite for social media. I know Eric was working on that contract and getting the login information to Susan Bernstein. So what Hootsuite is just essentially a hub where it's one account that the social media person can log into and create a post that will be posted on every single platform. So you can schedule it, you can plan it out, and you create one post to go multi-places instead of having to log on to this account, create your post, log off, log on to the next account, create it. So time-saving wise, huge. So we're looking forward to rolling Hootsuite out here soon. Some other new technology, we had really noticed when we were starting to come back in person from the pandemic, from COVID times, that video was really what was engaging patrons and citizens. So we wanted to use that to our advantage to let people know we were opening our doors back up. So I just hopped on, I'm a Mac person personally, so I just hopped on my MacBook and threw some clips into iMovie to some cute music. And that got us by for that moment, but we wanted to think long term and what would make sense for staff. So Cindy in Waconia was actually really instrumental in doing some experimenting with Camtasia, and then we were able to get a license for the library. So we have that on 2 machines now, I think, for staff to use and create video content, which was really, really beneficial when we were doing outreach in May to schools because students are all over video. You know, TikTok is like their thing. So it's that engaging with the video that we were able to draw them in, and Cindy again did a wonderful job with that.
Do we have a TikTok account?
We don't have a TikTok account, no.
Don't have or don't have yet?
Well, I don't know. I guess it depends on who you ask. We'd need like a library TikTok. It's a video content is very time consuming. It would be fun, but it's a lot of work. Another technology piece was launching our QR code. I think most of you, if not all of you, have the water bottle vinyl sticker. And so it's really easy if you have a smartphone or a device just to put your camera over it. There's no app you have to download or anything fancy. You just tap the link when it pops up on the camera. And so we started to incorporate this QR code in other places. It's on the front of the new brochure too, just to have people, you know, easily be able to access our website and all the good stuff that's there without having to type in that web address. So you'll probably see the QR code around more often. Translation services, we try to translate a document, at least one every single year. This past year we didn't, and I'll pass these around in either direction, but we used the Libby handout that Melsa had received that was in Spanish, and this has been a super popular promotional tool that has just flown off the shelves. I don't know how many times we've ordered more from Melsa. I think it's been at least 2 or 3 more times. So these are really being used. And I think with our circulation numbers, with e-resources going up, I think that you can see that using this promotional material has enabled it to be accessible for more people. So we haven't had anything that we have found we need to translate in-house yet, but we're always looking for those opportunities and excited to do that with the funds that we have set aside. just want to touch on a few outreach events that we had. We had a couple staff participate with the Pride Table at Melsa and Loring Park. It was nice to have that back this June. Last week, we were invited by Health and Human Services and Career Force to attend their health and wellness fair that was held at the Chaska Community Center. So we tabled there, gave out a whole bunch of free books to different age of kids and families. This week is Carver County Fair. Alas, my super casual outfit, I was setting the booth up, so I apologize for my appearance. I was hoping to change, but I didn't have time. So we'll be out at the fair this week in the Carver County Commons building. We're back in the corner. We have our photo booth again, and we're doing some hands-on activities. So please stop out and see us there. At the end of the month, the 31st of August is the State Fair Library Read and Ride Day. Last year, Melsa decided to step away from having hands-on activities. We'll be back again this year, which was Carousel Park. I think it's by Dan Patch. And so we'll be back again there this year. I'll be out there helping to set that up on the 31st. In September, we have Project Community Connect Expo, which is in Canterbury Park at the Expo Center. Just really all kinds of different county service departments from Carver County and Scott County working together to reach people that might be in need of some assistance, or people that work for organizations that serve people that are looking for something. And then we have a couple senior expos coming up. Chaska will be the same day as Project Community Connect, which is September 28th. And then Chanhassen will be a little bit later than that. So we'll have some presence at both of those events too. Another thing I want to throw out there, a couple things. We had some partnerships with Melsa, and I'm grateful to our library staff to reach out to patrons and to be willing to participate. But we had the opportunity to showcase some of our library staff and our patrons on Fox, the channel Fox. We had a commercial that our librarian Bridget and her daughter recorded the commercial with Melsa to do a spot about homework help. Well, Help Now, I think is what it's called, but it's the tutoring resource that's available. So Bridget and her daughter were on the commercial having a little argument about, do your homework, get off your iPad. So that was cool to be able to see them on TV. And then in the Star Tribune, I think Janice, you brought this ad in that Melsa did. Melsa had asked for volunteers across the region, and we had a family kind of jump on in ready to showcase one of our story walks. So in this ad in the Star Tribune, can I pass this around? You'll see one of our families from Victoria out there walking the path with the story walk. So that was kind of fun just to see some of our local patrons making the newspaper. And then we were part of a commercial too that I think was also on Fox, or was it WCCO, with Melsa when we were welcoming people back into the libraries. And so Jody got to be a movie star for a day with Jennifer and opening the brand new doors to the brand new entrance at Chaska Library. So we got to showcase the new entrance also. So that was kind of fun. So I love those opportunities, appreciate them, and hopefully you get to see some of our staff and patrons in action on TV and in the paper. Does anybody have any questions or anything?
What are some of the
that was a lot.
topics at the Senior Expo?
At the Senior Expo, one thing that we've heard feedback with is looking for some legal assistance, legal help. And so I'm working with Alyssa. It sounds like there are some consultations available by appointment. And so I'm going to create a handout for her that we can have that available at the Senior Expo. And then we'll also showcase some of our health and wellness resources. We have a whole bunch of health databases on our e-resources page. And so places to go for questions about how to fill out applications, or where can I get some solid medical information or research or advice that isn't Google or Wikipedia. So we'll be showcasing some of that too.
So
Yeah.
Alan Jones isn't, Alex Jones, that's not where you go for your
No.
medical?
No.
Aim high.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah, so I have a question. So what is your role? I mean, is this
Yeah.
just part of your job and you do something else? Do you have a team? I mean,
Yeah.
I would like to know the
Yeah.
org chart.
Absolutely. My role's been different things, I guess, depending on what's needed at the time. During COVID, it was really a lot of emergency communication because we were moving so fast. But I support the legacy the legacy money that we get from MLSAR appropriation. I'm in charge of just making sure that the programs that are being selected fit in with the requirements of the amendment. I process the paperwork, do the contracts and things like that. Work with some vendors sometimes to do all those things, and then make sure the payments are processed, because of course everyone likes money. So I want to get that out in a timely manner. Volunteer program stuff, so even though we have like Ingrid at the library here, or Cindy over in Waconia, and other staff, Margot and Chaska, working directly with the volunteers, I'm kind of making sure that our application is up to date and that we're getting all the information that we need. I'm working with Michelle Miller in ER to be sure that we're getting all the background screens done and that those are coming back to us, so I can let the library staff know that that volunteer is ready to go. And we also have to make sure that those are completed every year. So if we have a volunteer that sticks with us for, you know, year after year after year, that's an annual process. So just keeping tabs on that. Of course, a lot of the communication stuff, I do some editing for some other people that write within the library system. The brochure, I put the brochure together, so library staff put the information into the calendar. I take that out and put it into one document with one voice. And then just checking in with Eric regularly to be sure that what we're doing in the library rolls up into the ultimate communications plan for the county.
So you're part of the administrative staff,
Yes.
not like a part-time librarian and
No.
part-time communications?
No.
Okay, that was kind of my
Yeah,
question.
yeah. So Terry Clay.
Okay, the light
Some
bulb
of her
went off
job-
while you were
yeah.
talking, that you're the new Terry Clay.
Yes and no. Yes, in that some of the stuff she did, I do.
Right.
But no, in that some of the stuff I do, she didn't do before.
Sure, I know
Yeah,
how that works.
yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah, and I think you've come one other time, but
Yeah, at
through
least
COVID,
once.
it's just.
Last year, I think I was on
I have to
video.
reintroduce myself
Yeah.
all the time.
No problem. Thank you, I
A
appreciate
COVID
it.
brain, yeah.
Anybody
Yeah,
else have questions or feedback?
So you've been doing it like 3 or 4 years now?
3 years,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, wow,
I know, it seems like
I know.
the last 2
We don't
years
get
have
time.
been
Yeah.
one giant blob of time, so.
Oh, good.
Senior Expo, like in Chaska, where are they going to be? Is it in the library itself, or is it going to be a different location?
So the Senior Expo in Chaska is actually, Officer Julie with the police department is kind of the main contact for that. It will be at the Chaska Community Center. The one in Chaska, I believe, is at the Senior Center right up
Is
there.
the lodge, the Chaska one, is that the lodge then, or?
No, it's at the community center.
Yeah, the community center and the site has a lodge for the seniors, would they be there? Or?
I don't exactly know the room that it's going to be in for sure, but it'll be on that facility campus. Yeah, so the Project Community Connect Expo, that's in at Canterbury Expo Center in Shakopee, that'll be the same day as the Chaska Senior Expo. Usually the Chaska Senior Expo is in the spring, but Officer Julie had something else going on, and so she pushed it to fall. So we'll be busy for a couple months here, but it's good to have things like that back in person for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, anything else? Thanks so much, I appreciate your time.
Thanks, Jessica.
Yeah.
Next item that we have is the budget. And I'm just going to roll the budget and director report.
I'm going to go through the budget next time so that we keep on schedule.
I was going to say, is there next time? I was just kidding. Go ahead, director's report.
Okay, the director's report stands as enclosed, except that the update is that we have over 10,000 subscribers to the e-newsletter, just pointing it out again. And I was asked to actually put names down for all the people from the library who received awards, and so you see that in my director's report. The other thing that I didn't touch on is because it just happened today, our county administrative, our county assistant administrator, Nick, and Patrick from Chanhassen Library, and I met with Jim Brewington, the community development person today. They wanted more information on what we might like to see if we were building a new library for Victoria. And so they're still very interested, as are other entities, other communities in our county to establish even newer libraries. Obviously, we're a growing county, so the board will hear more and more about that probably just about every time that it comes up. So I thought I was intrigued with how interested they were in new ways to produce library services, and I'm going to ask Nick if he could share some thoughts on that as well.
Yeah, I think it was a good meeting. Thank you, Heidi, with the city of Victoria, and I'm glad they were connecting with us early to figure out what a new library might look like, as far as the physical size of it, but then also what are the different amenities that we want to include. Things like a drive-through book drop, which will then affect kind of the layout of a site or what they might need to look for in a site. So I do appreciate that they were willing to connect with us early and have some of those discussions.
I was just curious, when we looked at the policy earlier, we talked about the 5 mile general rule.
Mm-hmm.
Would they meet the 5 mile, or would that not? Would it be too close between Waconia and Chaska or Victoria?
I'd have to drive it. I think they're over 5, but they're probably
They're
getting
over 5.
close.
They're
Yeah,
over 5.
yeah.
With traffic, for sure.
Right, yeah. Yes. Depending on
That makes
what
it
route you
longer?
take. Yeah.
5 minutes, yeah, not 5
Yes,
minutes.
right.
Go ahead, it's all right.
No, and that's all that I have.
So, then,
Yeah, I can introduce myself. So I'm Nick Octavi, the Assistant County Administrator, and I'd just like to take a couple minutes. And first, I think everyone's heard the news, but just to thank Heidi for her service here at Carver County, and congratulations on your retirement. It's well deserved. We will definitely miss you, Heidi, but are very happy for you. So kind of some mixed emotions there, but again, congratulations. For those of you not familiar with how the county's structured, the library director does report directly to me. So I'll be heading up the recruitment process coming up here. So I just wanted to kind of fill everyone in as far as what I'm thinking and get some feedback from all of you. So Heidi's last day will be October 3rd, a Monday. And Jody has agreed to step in as the interim. I'm guessing there'll be a period of time there where we'll be without a formal library director. So we're in the very capable hands of Jody during that period of time. So thank you for agreeing to step up. As far as the interview process, typically what I do for my department manager levels is I start out with a screening interview. It's usually a smaller panel where we'll invite a larger group of candidates to come in and really screen, and then bring forward probably about 3 candidates for finalists. At that point, I like to involve many groups. I like to involve library staff. I'd like to involve this board in some capacity as well, and then others across the organization to really get a broad input on what we're looking for in a new library director, and weigh in on the different candidates that are brought forward. So with that, tonight I have kind of 2 asks of the library board. One is if they'd be willing to put forward a representative to sit on 1 or more panels, and then also an alternate just in case we run into scheduling issues. But really looking for a volunteer to come forward, a representative to come forward to represent the interests and the viewpoints of this library board in that important hiring process. And then the second part is just feedback from the group. And I don't mean to put you on the spot here as far as what knowledge, skills, or abilities you're looking for in a future library director. We do have a little time, so feel free to email me or call me if you have any input along the way as far as what sort of skill set you're looking for in a future library director. So with that, I'll turn it back over. But again, looking for input, not necessarily tonight, but just as we go through the process here, and then also someone potentially to volunteer to help out with the panel. First round interviews, I'm thinking probably in October is probably how this will line up as I look at reviewing the position description and then, getting out with a posting, going through resumes, probably looking at that October-ish timeframe for those interviews.
You probably want the feedback ahead of time. I mean, as far as selecting a rep, we can maybe do that next month or something like that.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yep.
How many people do you want on that panel?
So from the library board, I'm looking for probably one volunteer and an alternate. And then I'll probably pull in for the panel, probably like 5 or 6 key people throughout the organization and different connections. So that's what I'll be looking for on the panel.
How do you search for a replacement?
Yeah, so I'll rely heavily on our employee relations department to help me with some of that, but just getting the word out through the Association of Minnesota Counties tends to be a popular place to post stuff, positions like this. We'll be looking for, I assume there's some sort of Minnesota or National Library Association that we can put this out there on that as well. And then, LinkedIn and just different avenues, really trying to get the word out there. And my understanding is the library profession is relatively small, so I think word travels too, that there's potentially an opening. So
Good luck on that.
yeah, thank you.
Seems so intangible, but it'll work.
Unless somebody else wants to do it, I would like to throw my hat in the ring to be part of the panel. My background's human resources. I'm a little rusty.
Okay, all right.
But I've done lots of interviewing, and I think I've been on the board the longest, unless, Charles.
No, I was going to say I would
Nominate her.
Yeah, sounds like a perfect fit.
Well, when I talked to Heidi a while ago, I think I knew this was probably coming, and because I was debating about doing another term on the board, and then kind of talked through it, and yeah, I'd like to support
Great.
the library if everybody's okay with that.
You can put me down for an alternate.
Perfect.
I'm on the City Council of Northern America, and we brought in 4 candidates for a new city administrator, and wow, I've not done that type of thing. And it was a thrill, but the end result was super. I mean, the woman we hired is just extraordinary.
Great.
So it's a nice process to do this. Yeah.
Great. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Do you have an email if you want to send your feedback, or how would that work?
Yeah, so it's N and then Koktavy, Koktavy, at co.carver.mn.us. Or you can also send stuff to Heidi, who could easily forward it to me as well.
Is there going to be a party for Heidi?
Yes, my understanding is there's one or more that might be in the works, but
Okay.
more to come on that. Yeah. Yes.
There better be. Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Yes. I may not be at the party because I won't know about it.
You'll be there, just
Yeah, I think we should really find something to really express how we feel about her.
I agree.
Next section is section 8, which is trustee and commissioner reports. Is Patrick going to? Yeah. Well, but
Yeah, he won't be back in. So I'm the only one here. So
yeah,
I'll
you're the
come.
all.
So I have obviously enclosed Chaska's board report for the evening, but just some highlights for you all. I think what Jessica alluded to earlier, that it's really great to be back in person, especially for some of the outreach events that we're having opportunities. I know one thing I spoke to in the Chaska report was Jennifer being able to get out to the summer school program in Eastern Carver County Schools and visit with students, promote the library, hand out books, and to be able to, tie back to the library and have those opportunities. So that's been really, really terrific. But in the same regard, having in-person in the library has been wonderful to get back to as well. We had a packed house for Bill the Juggler, which who doesn't love Bill the Juggler, but just to see those families coming back through our doors and being able to engage with them and help them find books and interact, it really, that's what it's all about. So it's great to be able to see that return for certain. We have some great teen volunteers with us at Chaska as well, which is another kind of returning piece that we've been missing greatly. So that's been wonderful. And then we recently had River City Days book sale, our friends of the library, and just a great, exciting weekend. The unofficial total, which I reported here, was just a little over $5,700 for the weekend. So the friends really worked hard and are so thrilled with the outcome and that sense of community to see the people gather in the plaza and come for the library sale was just wonderful. So very exciting. And then just one other story that Jennifer recently shared with me. She was interacting with a father and his young children and recognized him that he was a young teen or even younger than that used to come to the library that she and Jeff would interact with. Now, they didn't say, but I have a feeling there maybe had been some challenging moments with this young gentleman, but that he was so excited to bring his kids to the library, and he was using a computer for some job searching, and he was signing his kids up for the summer reading program, and it was like just the most incredible story. And of course, Jennifer's very passionate about what she does, so it was just to hear her share that. Again, that's what it's all about. So those are my.
And my wife always says that the lady at Chaska has always been really helpful to her. I think she's the more elderly lady in the front desk. I think so. So yeah. My wife would say it. I'm like, okay, really? I don't remember.
Well, good. It's good to hear that feedback that staff are interacting in those ways. So, any questions? Answer.
So the Carver County Fair, the desk, would you all be there, or who would be manning the desk?
Yeah, it's mostly a mix of some admin staff, some Chaska Library staff, and then some Laconia staff. So we have 10 time slots that staff sign up for.
The 5,700 on the River City Days popped out to me. Wow. Is that a record or no? That's a
I don't know
lot.
that it's a record, but just coming out of these past couple of years, really,
Yeah.
really fantastic. So, and they sold a lot. There really wasn't that much left by Sunday, which was incredible. And then they did have a couple of nonprofit organization opportunities that came and gathered some leftover books, which was nice too. So.
Oh, we might want to connect with that. We don't have to throw so many.
Yeah, I was there. We bought a book. My wife bought a book, but yeah, it was a lot of people. Like it's like back to, I guess, for lack of a better word, normal. It's busy.
It was fun just setting it up.
Yes, thanks to Bob for helping.
No, I mean, I was just saying that because it was fun seeing everybody there.
He took over the canopy setup, so you don't have to ask.
If you want to listen sometime, let
Did
me
you
know.
get any pictures?
Yes.
No, but I'm working on a video.
Okay.
There's a video online on how to set up the tent, so I'll send you the link. It's,
That's pretty video.
Yeah.
but we're doing another one on, it was a comedy of errors, my gosh, it was so funny. When we were setting this thing up, we had 4 different guys, 1 on each pole. We're all doing it differently, okay? Each of us is doing it differently. And then they're like, well, we got to tie it down. Okay, so we're all tying it down. And, one guy does this type of a knot, and another guy does like a sailing knot, and I'm doing a boating knot, so it doesn't like stretch out. And then we're like, wait. None of these are tight, so we lowered the whole thing down, tied our knots, and then raised it up. It was super. And then we just said, forget it. Forget this. I went to the Home Depot and got some camshaft straps, hook it on the bag, hook it on the tent, go, you're good to go. But it was funny. It was fun. If you want a video on how to
That
set
should have
it.
been part of the training video, the outtakes, what not to do.
Actually, that would have been great.
Thank you. There's media packs and there's nothing else. Any other items for us to discuss? If not, I'll call the meeting to an end. Can we have a motion to end the meeting? Oh, sorry. Alan, do you have anything to update us on?
I don't have a report.
For the foundation.
No, the next meeting is September 9th, and that'll be my first, so I'm sort of spinning my wheels, but I'll knock it down, so.
What about Matt? Okay.
You guys probably knew about Jake. He left Scott County as their library person, went to Ramsey for less than 6 months, and now he's back in Scott County. That'd be the only thing I'd mention about Melsa.
What is he doing in Scott County?
I think he's a mixed role from what I could tell from a couple of the commissioners in Scott County. He's going to do a library director and take on some other projects. I don't know what those are.
Oh, because he said he wouldn't be seeing us at Melsa.
Oh, I don't know if he's going to come back into the Melsa fold as a director representative, but I think he's going to have library responsibilities and other stuff.
Okay.
It was, I did a Star Tribune article on him because apparently there's been a little bit of leadership turnover at Ramsey County. So he was literally there less than 6 months before he came back.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
You're not going to pop up in Ramsey County, are you?
Thank you. So, a couple of things. If you want to do the MLA, let Susan know ahead of time so that she can do all the scheduling for us. And if any feedback on the knowledge skills that you all would like to see or how you see have you done it, I can add that and give it to Nick. If there are no other items, can we have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Eric, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed, meeting adjourned. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
So it will be online.
It's not on
Just
the press?
Be at home watching it, right?
Lots of good stuff coming up.
I don't think Nikki has this
Yeah.
nagging show last night.
Yeah, it's on our face.
My wife and I bought a bicycle
Yeah.
for each
Yeah.
child.
I just drove back today from Iowa.
Sort of bicycling.
Indiana.
That's tonight.
Just like
7 o'clock
I
tonight.
didn't realize there's such a big
I've been
industry
sitting
there.
there.
Like, I mean, the industry.
Hey,
You're going to have your
nice
60 in before
nice to see you, man.
What's that?
You're going to have your 60
Today is a busy day. Holy
Maybe.
cow.
Thanks for volunteering. We'll be in touch.
A couple years
Yeah,
ago.
well, I was just going to ask if you,
Player,
are
my
you
favorite.
working on the job?
Okay.
description or
All the
active,
secret
or-
gossiping.
I'm hoping to
after
go
the
down
meeting.
right now.
Okay.